Everybody's having a rough week. I'm looking forward to the victories because I know that I didn't have many victories this past week besides surviving. You know, but so I'm looking forward to that tonight. I also want to go and say thank you. I've received. It wasn't just me that received. The invisible community received, because that's who deserves the credit. Comments from two people in particular this week, just today, that really drove home the fact that of what the invisible community does with letting people know they're seen, they're heard, they're loved, and they're not alone. And I wish I could broadcast it even more, how often I get messages like this, because it fills my heart, because that's what you guys are doing. You're letting people know they're loved and they're seen. And I can't thank you enough for that. This isn't me. This isn't me. This isn't Amy. This isn't Joe. It's all of y'all together who respond to comments, to show up to lives and encourage in lives. It's leaving comments. It's doing videos. It's supporting each other, even when we're crap, but still finding ways to support each other, letting everybody know that they're seen. And that is so huge. That is so huge. So, I did cause kind of a stir this week.
Did you?
I did a video and it got kind of popular.
You did.
I did a video. Thank you for the heart, whoever sent that. I did a video. It was a stitch of a lady who did a video talking about, for lack of a better term, acceptance. I think it kind of went along the lines, when do you accept that possibly there's not a cure, or that that I can't be fixed? And it stirred up a lot of emotions and a lot of ideas and a lot of comments. And I want to preface this part by saying, I'm not telling people to give up finding a cure or finding a fix. I'm not saying that. I am not. Because I don't want you to. And we're going to hear Tara's story on Thursday. And Tara is a perfect example of this. And there's so many reasons I wanted her on. I asked her to come on Invisible No More Thursday. Whenever I watch one of her videos, regardless of how bad things are for her, she's like, yep, I got crapped on by the medical system this week, but you know what? I have 9 more appointments next week and I'm going to go to them. And she just keeps going, and she has this infectious energy. And I love that. And I wish that I had that at times. And I'm hoping when we have her on Thursday, that infectious energy will everybody that'll be there will be able to take a little of that energy with them and go forward. Right. So, yeah. And she's not ready to roll over, and I don't want her to roll over and say I give up. But some of us, there is no medical definition of why we are how we are. And we get poked, we get prodded, we get tests, we have procedures, we have things installed in our bodies that don't belong there. We have all this stuff. And at what point do we realize for us that, you know what, I can't be fixed?
Yeah.
Like, for example, I don't want to give up on trying to find a cause of my brain fog or my migraines, right?
Yeah.
In the what do you call it? The the back stab they just did, the spinal tap they just did. Over 35 tests were done on the fluid they took out so far. Okay, all coming back normal. Right. So we're leading it to the infamous doctor saying, "Go home. We'll treat your symptoms. If you have a migraine, here, take this pill." Right? There's nothing wrong with you. And so sometimes for some of us, it becomes an accepted fact.
Right.
Am I off on this, or what do you think? I mean, am I?
No, I mean, I think it very much varies by person to person, and I also think it depends on how long you've been fighting it. I think I said this to you earlier, like we all have our different journeys with this. And we talked about how grief comes in with this and how our journey with acceptance and grief and, frustration is just a constant flow. And, I've shared with you guys before that January of last year, January 2024, I stopped going to all doctors except my pain management because I just needed a break. And doesn't mean I stopped looking for the root cause of things or whatever. I was seeing a handful of doctors constantly. And like Tara was like 9 appointments a week, 10 appointments a week, week after week after week. And I just needed a break. I was like, I'm just going to stop for a minute and we'll resume this later. And I think that's okay too. I think we all have our own journeys and working on how we're going to navigate that and what's healthy for us, because it became very overwhelming for me and my mental health. And knowing that a lot of my things are structural and cannot be fixed, or the only way to be fixed is a fusion, it's like, well, I have to come to terms with there's no pill, there's no therapy, there's no voodoo that's going to fix anything. And so, that cycle of grief just continues to flow. And I think it's just such an individualized journey for all of us. But no matter what, I feel like all of us are still searching for some type of answers. We're always on that quest.
Yeah, somebody, I missed the name, but they said something to the effect that sometimes not getting a diagnosis is your answer, and you just have to go forward, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of where I'm at, right? With the migraines and the brain fog and everything like that. I mean, it's getting better, but that's not because of anything a doctor did or didn't do.
Right.
And
I think, that the funny thing is that I've learned from being sick, and that people who are healthy just cannot grasp this concept, but a diagnosis is a luxury. Like, you don't just get a diagnosis you don't get to go to your PCP and they diagnose you right away. Some of us have been searching for a diagnosis for years, and some of us will never find a diagnosis. And, I think the healthy population just assumes you go to the doctor, you tell them your symptoms, you get a diagnosis, and you're good to go. But we all realize that a diagnosis is a huge luxury that a lot of us do not have. And so, being undiagnosed sometimes is our answer, unfortunately.
Yeah. And like somebody just said in the comments too, quality of life is an acceptable goal too. It is.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right? It is. So I just want to, again, to make it clear, because I don't think I made it clear in the video that I posted, I'm not telling people to give up. I'm not telling people to just roll over, right? Keep searching if that's where you're at. But in some cases, like apparently my brain fog and migraines, or like my thoracic issues, they're going to have to cut through my ribs to do what they have to do. And the doctors are telling me, even if that's successful, it's only 50-50 whether it's going to work, and a year recovery time, and on and on. So there really isn't, I mean, I have my answer. Yeah, just cut my ribs open, right? But is that an acceptable, right? And like the comment said, sometimes quality of life is more important, and that would definitely be a ding on the quality of life that this person does. But you mentioned a buzzword that we've talked in a couple of lives about words that we use in our community that don't make sense or that we interpret them different than the outside community, whether it's buzzsaw or whether it's flare. I think that the word you used was the word grief or grieve. And I think in this community, it has a much deeper meaning than in other community to the outside world. We did that 5 stages of grief months ago, and that was one of the most intense things I've ever seen take place on any form of social media. If I was trying to get followers, it was the worst thing I could have ever done, because it cost me 1,000+ followers.
People are like, nah, this is not it. I'm here on TikTok to have fun.
Right. And even though we had the most buy-in, we had 20 people doing it on their own, right? But I think the term grief in our community really, or grieving, is different for us because it's constant. Because it's never ending for a lot of us, including myself, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to bring her up again. Tara did a video today talking about she was able to recognize that parts of the old Tara were still there. And that's awesome. But at the same time, I guess Valerie could tell me she sees parts of the old Keith. I don't know if I see parts of the old Keith. So I think when we put together our long list of terms and phrases that we use that have different meanings than the outside world, I think we need to have grief or grieving in there, because I don't take it lightly, because to me it's a process that's continual, and I'll be in those 5 stages. I'll be in 3 stages at one time,
every day.
Every day.
Yeah.
So where to most normal people, it's the loss of a loved one or the loss of a job, right, or whatever. And while that still comes up at times throughout their life, it's not that they're not faced with it every morning when they get up, right?
Right. They don't get hit with it multiple times a day when, you go to grab something off the top shelf.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
Exactly.
Or even just 5 years ago, I could have done that. Or 10 years, whatever. Just little things like that, I feel like smack me in the face during the day. And I'm like, oh.
I think for me, it's something that I drop on the floor. I can't tell you how many times a day that sorry, that was the dog. How many times a day I will accidentally drop something and I'll look down at it and I'll come back and get that later. Because there ain't no way I'm bending over to pick it up. Right, not right then. I'm definitely not doing that. Just because I know better, right?
No, my husband makes fun of me because because of all my neck issues, I have right-sided arm weakness, and it goes numbness and tingling every now and then. So if I hold things just in my right hand, a lot of times I'll drop it. So anytime he hands me something, he goes, 2 hands, like a little child. I'm like, I know, I'm not going to drop it. And then, of course, whenever I'm like, I'm not going to drop it, I drop it. He'll hand me something, he goes, 2 hands. And I'm like, I know, but
That is so funny. That's awesome.
Dang it. No,
what I would do is I would take it in 2 hands and then wait for him to go sit down and then walk over to him and then drop it in his lap. Oh, I had 2 hands and I still dropped it,
I had 2 hands, I swear.
Yeah, you saw me, I did have 2 hands on it, or tell him, send him some screenshots of some expensive, like a Coach bag or Coach basket, and say, hey, instead of me dropping something, this basket, you could get me this basket and I can put things in this basket, and go from that. So
period. Absolutely. Perfect. Love it.
When we were talking earlier about how the acceptance, you brought up another good thing that we run into is people on the outside don't always understand. And there's a term for those people that I don't like using because I don't like classifying people. But they're ableists, is at times, right? And I know everybody, we have 36 people here tonight, and I know they tuned in for two reasons. One's probably for victories, but the main reasons they tuned in is not for me, it's for your tea, right? Um, but
Yes.
tonight we're going to twist the tea a little bit because you had an experience over the weekend where you had to come face to face with, lack of a better term, people who are ableist,
Yeah.
right? And one who's a pharmacist, right?
Mhm.
And I love how you handled it. But if you want to tell people a little bit of the conversation that you ended up having to lead, because I think this is important to you. It's not doesn't involve the SWAT team, unfortunately. But it's
No,
a
it
good
doesn't. It's
it's a
really
good thing to
not. It's
talk
not
about.
tea, but maybe more drama than tea. But and you know, I told you, I was like, I can't. There's two ways I could have handled it, and parts of me wish that I would have handled it a different way. But you know how I was feeling in that moment. There was no way I was going to confront somebody at that point. But anyway, we went to Alabama this weekend to visit my husband's family and do like their Christmas or whatever. And I'm going to preface this by saying that my husband is the only male grandchild. So I am the only female in-law. All the girls are family, sisters, cousins, little tight-knit group. So I am the only female that's not technically in the family. And that has been made aware to me many, many times. So
Was it you that was cut out of the will because you're the female that's not part of the family, or was that
that was the other
another?
family.
That was okay. All right.
It was mom's side of the family. This is dad's side of the family.
Oh wow, that's brutal.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sorry.
But so anyway, so we were all sitting downstairs and they have like an open concept. So there's a dining room table and then like a sectional living room. And all of the girls were at the dining room table, but there was no more chairs there. So I was sitting in the living room, maybe 6 feet away. And how they got on this topic, I have no idea. But they got on the topic of how corrupt the medical system is and how it's so hard for them to go to the doctor's office and get the medication that they need. And I'm listening and I'm like, what are they talking about right now? Like, what? They're complaining about how doctors are getting kickbacks and how the more, injections that start with a V, they get paid more, and how corrupt it is and blah, blah. And then my sister-in-law goes to say, yeah, I went to the doctor to get, what is that? The flu medication, whatever it's called. And the doctor didn't want to prescribe her that medication. He wanted to prescribe her the generic or whatever. And no, she wanted that. She was talking about how she had to fight with her doctor and just how terrible doctors' offices are now and blah, blah. And so I was just like kind of getting a kick out of it because I'm like, you guys don't even have to participate in the healthcare system. Like, you only go to the doctor when you're sick. Like, imagine if you guys had to go to the doctor, like all of us have to go. Yes, Tamiflu. That's what she was talking about. And I was like, imagine if you had to go to the doctor like we do and trying to get a diagnosis and the actual medication and imaging. Like, you guys are complaining about cold medication right now and how hard it is to get cold medication. But I was like, well, this is just ridiculous. So they go on, and my cousin, or my husband's cousin, is a pharmacist down there, and she was talking about how, if you can avoid going into the doctor, because once you get on one medication, then you have to get put on another one for the side effect. And then before you know it, you're going to be on like 10 different medications. And they were like, oh my gosh, I know. Like, medication is just like, why would you even be on it? Like, that's so terrible. There's so many natural things you can do. And so they're going on and on, trying to heal the world. And then the pharmacist was saying how she goes, yeah, I have this person I have people that come through who are on like 10 or 20 medications. And I just think to myself, what a miserable life that must be on medication like that. Like, how miserable are these people? And I literally could just feel the tears welling up, and I was like, no, Amy, you're fine. You're fine. And then they all chimed in and were like, oh my gosh, I know. Can you imagine, like, being on medication like that? Like, people who are on all this medication, they could literally just eat better and work out. Like, they don't need to be honest. They're taking the easy way out, and they don't even need to be on it. And she was like, I know, like, the more medication these people are on, the more miserable they are. And it's like, you could be happier, you know that? And at that point, I got up and left.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I can't. I am going to either start crying, or the police are going to get called right now. And if it was my family, I probably would have said something. But it wasn't my family. And so I know two of them, as I was getting up to leave the room, I had to like walk past them. And at that point, there were tears rolling down my eyes. So I know two of them saw me. They never said anything. No.
And it kills me because.
But it was just like, do you honestly, in your heart of heart, believe that people who are on a lot of medication want to be? Like, that's what they truly believe. And I'm like, that is so sad.
I know.
You know, like, you have no clue. Until it happens to them, they will have no clue.
Right. Or to their spouse or to their child or in their immediate circle, right? But I had this anger in my heart about it. They're the same people that would go to their doctor to get the injection stuff to lose weight, right?
One of them is.
Right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, on one hand, medicines are terrible. But on the other hand, medicines are terrible. They need to just change their diet. And then they leave that, and then the next day they go to the doctor to get their Prizen, whatever that stuff is, so they can continue to eat what they want and not have to worry about getting weight. And it's tough. And I don't like the word ableist or ableism, just like I'm not a big fan of the word handicap or disabled, because I feel, even though technically, according to SSI, which I'm blessed to have, I am disabled, I feel there's still things I can do and accomplish, right? But when I'm dealing with an ableist, I try to educate. And I think that's another thing this invisible community does, is we do our best to educate, right? To let them know, hey, if I could give up these pain pills, or if I could give up what I'm taking to deal with help with my POTS, or if I could give up to my, all XYZ, I would in a heartbeat. I personally don't know any invisible patient, invisible person that enjoys taking medicine. I think we all hate it. But I had somebody tell me when we were talking about that video, they're like, they'll tell you that, but they'll take their blood pressure medicine or their heart meds.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, and that's the funny thing. It's like, because this isn't the first time that they've said something like this in front of me, and I have tried to educate them prior and have like spoken up and said, well, it's just not like that for everybody, or there are some cases that people are taking medication for side effects because of the one medication they absolutely have to have. Like, they can't live without this medication, but it causes side effects, so they have to take more. I was like, that also happens too. And I've told them about my story and being like, well, this is why I take what I take. Blah, blah. Well, you're different. We're talking about other people. We're not you. We're talking about the other people who are just on it for no reason. So they always have an excuse. And that's another reason why I didn't get up and say anything, because I was like, first of all, they probably weren't even thinking about me in that situation. They're just talking in their high horse, their perspective of being healthy, not realizing that being healthy is a huge luxury that we don't have. But I was like, A, they weren't even thinking about me when they were talking. And B, they're not going to change their mind.
They're not. And
And I got up and left, and it was funny because I got up and went upstairs to a room that we were staying in, and Zach didn't see me leave. And like literally 4 or 5 minutes later, he comes in the room. He goes, what happened? Where did you go? He's like, I looked over and you were gone. And I just like was bawling, and he was like, what happened? And I told him, and he was like, Amy, they're stupid. Like, they don't get it, and they're never going to get it. And he was like, maybe this is your chance to finally take your mask off. And just, he was like, fuck them. Like, just don't talk to them all weekend if you don't want to. Take your mask off and show them how horrible you feel. And so I did. And I had one of his aunts tell me that I didn't look good. Are you okay? You don't look good. And I said, no, I don't feel good, actually. I feel really terrible. And she goes, well, that's a shame. And walked away. And I said, yeah. And that's literally after that, the only person I talked to, which thankfully my little niece was there, and her and I are like besties right now. So I just played with her all the rest of the day, didn't speak to anybody because they didn't come up and talk to me, because I think some of them knew, but they didn't say anything. But I didn't speak to a single person, took my mask off, and just...
It's tough because I really want to educate, right? But sometimes there are people who get in their holier than thou attitudes, and it's just, I don't even want to really have to educate them about my disease. I want to educate them about how other people have to do things to survive. That they're hang on.
Just educate them on having some empathy. That being healthy is not a given. Not the luxury of having to take no medication is a huge luxury. Like, I would work for free if I could work and not take any medication. I would give you all of my money. I would do everything in this life for free if I could have a job and be on no medication and be healthy.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want anything. I just want to be healthy, work, have a normal life. But like, they don't understand that is like such a huge thing that they just take for granted.
Right.
It's like, you can do better, eat better, exercise, go breathe some air, you'll be fine. And I'm like, you don't think that we've tried this? You don't think that we, done this or whatever? Like, no.
I love what Shelley said here. She said, I have to decide if the emotional response is worth the ensuing flare.
Right.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Because in some people's minds, we're never going to change until it happens to them. Or, it's kind of like when I'm going to relate it back to when we were in Vegas working with the homeless. And I would go try to do fundraising, and I would talk to different groups, and they'd be like, well, it's terrible they have to live like that, and walk away. And I'd be like, what if it was your child? Well, my child knows better. And it's the same thing with Invisible, right? What if it was your child? Well, my child will never be taking pills like that. And it's like, how do you know? Where's your empathy? Where's your love for other people? If I just said, can we teach it? I thought we were born with empathy. Yeah, But again, I'm going to say, because I 100% firmly believe this, the invisible community is a 1,000% empath community. Because we've been abused so bad and gaslit and lied to and treated so bad that we can understand when it happens to somebody else.
Yeah.
And that's exactly why this community works really so well. But we have these people, and some people we can educate. Like I could educate about the home situation in Las Vegas. Some people we can educate about the pain or the chronic illness or the mental health. Even though I tell you, when I bring up mental health, sometimes it just infuriates me. Mental health issues is like the third rail like on a subway line, people don't want to touch it.
Right.
They don't want to touch it. They don't want to bring it up, you know? And it's like, there's so many people that are suffering that, no. And it's like, but you're going to, I mean, I could cite my mom in that. I mean, she wouldn't see people having a problem with it, but she was on more Xanax than an elephant would take every day. And, you know, it broke my heart. But yeah. Tara's right. Mental health is important, because I think mental health issues are doubly important in this community, because I honestly believe, and I'm an example, so this is why I believe it, my chronic pain causes mental health issues in my life.
Oh, yeah.
And and I think that people who are struggling with mental health issues, it causes other issues in their life as well. You know, that's why because I caught flack when I first started including mental health in Invisible, and I would talk about it. And I'm like, hell no. Mental health patients are treated just like we are, if not worse. You know, here's a pill. Go take a pill, you know, or you're fine, you know. So that's exactly why it's why I think everybody is included in all of this stuff, you know.
But yeah, that's why I always, like, anytime I talk to somebody about stuff like that, I always remind them that you are one, you know, you could wake up tomorrow and get sick or be in an accident, and your life could change in one day, and you could be disabled or chronically ill. And your life can change in just one day. I mean, I did. I literally woke up one day and had a migraine. And that's how it spiraled and snowballed into everything that has happened now. You know, there was probably things beforehand, but like that was the main event. And I'm like, you could literally wake up tomorrow and be in an accident, and something could happen, and you could get CRPS, or you could get, you know, broken bones or whatever. And so just remember that it could happen tomorrow to anybody. And of course, you know, they're like, oh, what happened to me?
You know, it would never happen to me. Somebody mentioned, you know, I thought we were born, you know, with the ability to do this. We shouldn't have to teach it. I think for me, it goes back to a saying that my grandfather would tell me when I was a kid. And when he was talking about other people, he would honestly say, there but for the grace of God go I. And my grandfather was not a religious man at all. I never saw him go to church. Never saw him step a foot. He worked he was a mechanic at the railroads in Macon, Georgia. He was like 5'4", tiny little, but that was his philosophy on life. When he saw somebody that was in a bad situation, he would do what he could, and if I was there, I would hear him say it. I heard him say it sometimes. There, but for the grace of God, go on. And if my pea brain can grasp that concept, why? Why do people don't want to go there? Don't want to go there. How about we do something positive? How about we try to do something positive tonight? You know what I'm talking about? Victories. Does anybody have a victory for today, for this week, last week, this month? I'll take any time, because I need them. I do. I'm continuing to get text messages several times a day. These tests on this fluid that they're telling me I'm normal. You know, so I got to use a victory, because Lord knows I'm not normal. So did you get a shower this week? I got a shower. What is today? Tuesday. Sunday. Hallelujah. Valerie may sleep in bed with me. There you go.
I didn't take a full shower, just washed my hair.
Valerie said, I forgot. We did have a victory, right, Val? Because our furnace is mostly working. That is a big victory. Oh, with it running 24 hours night before last, it kept it at 48 degrees. I think the last I saw it. Oh,
it worked.
48 degrees, single digits outside. Um, yeah, but it's now continuing to work better. Bo, are you taking the DOT class, or you wanted to, does something go wrong that's keeping you from doing it? Christina said, I stayed positive all day yesterday because it was my birthday. That does count. That does count at all. Found a counselor that knows, understands. Hallelujah. That's awesome. Look at Jennifer. Went to dinner and movies on Sunday.
What movie did
That
you
is so cool.
tell me your movie?
Somebody else said, I had a shower today. That is great. Got a haircut and a style for the first time in 14 months. Hallelujah.
Woohoo!
That is awesome. That is awesome.
Advo finally turned a corner with her pneumonia. Woo, Advo!
$1,750 to go to. Message me what DOT school you're going to, brother. That's outrageous. That is, because that's a lot of money. Sarah drove all over New England with my son to watch him compete snowboarding contests. That's 2 victories. 1, you got to do that. Number 2, you have a son that enjoys snow. Because I hate
That's
snow.
awesome.
I hate snow with a passion. Wow, here's a huge one. Bucky Becca, listen.
I'm missing a bunch.
The fact that you're able to do that, please don't take that as humiliating and dehumanizing. I see that as just a major win. Holy crap, that's huge, and I am very proud of you, and I'm excited for you because you're able to do that. That's not, God, that is so awesome.
People don't get how exhausting showers are. I mean, they're not only exhausting, but depending on what you have going on, you can be dizzy, lightheaded, your heart rate can either shoot up or go down, your blood pressure can shoot up or go down. You can have blood pooling in your legs. Like, there's so many things that happen during a shower that makes it hard for people. So that is a huge victory. I love that.
That's for it to go that long and finally get one. I am so proud of you. Thank you, Becca, for sharing that. You're going to make me cry because I am so ecstatic that you were able to do that and to share it tonight.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Yeah, that is so awesome. Now I've probably lost a lot of messages, so I'm gonna go back and go through.
I'm scrolling back here. I hate showers too, Sarah. I hate them.
Yeah, that's. Jeez, I've got like tears in my eyes. That is so freaking awesome. I have no problems in life now because I got to hear that a person got to do that. And so I got nothing but first world problems, So,
Little Red said she had her brother reach out to her after 10 years of not talking.
Whoa!
That's amazing. I wish for that one day in my life that my sister and I can reconnect. I am so happy. That must have been such a wonderful, wonderful reunion for you. So I'm so happy for you.
I am.
Hopefully it was a good reunion.
For you.
I'm assuming.
But considering my brother's wife tried to get me to throw a punch at her at my dad's funeral because that's the type of family they are, I'm okay with them not contacting me. I have tea on that. We need to do a family drama tonight. Like my brother's wife's child. When my dad passed, they didn't get any inheritance. My brother kept it. And so the child, I guess would be my niece, right, was bothering the executor of the will of the estate, begging for money. We're going to sue the estate because we didn't get a payout and we weren't included in.
What?
And then she tried to get a temporary restraining order on my brother because he wouldn't give her money. And then you think you have drama in your family.
Listen,
Netflix should be calling me, I'm sorry, got up way in the weeds there. I am so far. I apologize for that.
Yeah. I feel like if I ever don't have tea for the evening, I will come to you or I'll drudge up some stuff from the past because my family is, It's a
Sarah
mess.
said, let's do family drama night. I'm up for it, you know? I am so up for it.
Have everybody come up on the screen and share your own family drama instead of just us.
That's it. Kimberly said I was struggling terribly and it brought me a penny and we sat 24 hours. That is awesome. There's got stories to tell. Statistics, I think your brother must be my cousin. Exactly right. A crow brought you a penny, Kimberly? How sweet is that? That is cool.
They say crows can recognize faces, like people's faces, and remember them. So that's good. They must like you.
I like crows. I mean, I'm from the South, and we had them all the time. Before you couldn't look anywhere in Georgia without seeing a crow. You really could. As I moved further north, they got away. I don't really see a whole lot here. I think the most common bird I see out here, believe it or not, are hawks, followed by vultures.
Yeah.
Vultures, which is
love this.
So that's not fun. So coming up this week, we have Thursday night with Invisible No More. Myself and Tara. And Tara, I think, was in here. I'm not sure if she still is or not. I would invite you to go to my profile page after the live. Click on the live events and get registered for that. If you've seen Tara's videos, she's intelligent like this stuff. Like her penned ones, one of them actually says some like her medical trauma, medical history, and stuff like that. But watch her videos. If you don't know Tara, you'll follow her after Thursday. I guarantee it. Her story is that good. She is relatively new to the invisible community, but y'all, she is being put through the medical meat grinder like the rest of us. And her energy is infectious. Her attitude is, God, I wish I had it at times. And I look forward to seeing her videos as she's going further and she's sticking up for herself and she's trying to do what she needs to do to defend herself and advocate for herself, So I would recommend that. So we have that. Subscribers got a video tonight with a little thing that I cannot mention yet. Because they may kill me because it's not certain yet. But we could have another really good live coming up on a Monday night, possibly. But we haven't done in a very long time. It's like 3 to 4 months. And I'm looking forward to that possibility happening. And so we got a lot of good stuff coming up. The YouTube page is uploaded, and Joe is doing an amazing job editing them and getting the graphics done right on them, music behind them. He is so slick at this stuff. Everything's being uploaded in 4K now, which is scary because I'm uglier in 4K than I am in like 720. So I'll warn you on that. But we have some good lives. The live with Jennifer that we just did this past Thursday is up there. If you missed it, I would join in with that. As Amanda just said, Joe will be going live tomorrow too. You can go to his page, get notified for that. He did an interview with his wife, was it last week? Where it's a great series he's trying to get launched, and I'm 110,000% supporting it. He's bringing in spouses and or partners and or family and or caretakers of us invisibles, and is interviewing them to get their side of the story of like, what's it like living with us? His wife's tale and her love and dedication for that man. Joe hit the jackpot for her. She's a beautiful person, and she answered questions. She explained things to me that I know Valerie does for me, but I've never seen it I never looked at it from that perspective. Yeah. So if you know a caretaker or a spouse and you think they might be interested, get hooked up with Joe, because that is something that really needs to be publicized. They need to be able to tell their stories as well. And those are important stories to definitely get out. Now, for those of us that in the community that don't have that spouse or don't have that person, I apologize, and I'm not trying to glorify it, and I'm not trying to say that I'm not terribly saddened that you don't. But I think it's important for those of us that do have that type of backstop to get it from that perspective. Yeah. So That's really important. And again, it does what this community does. Because whether our partners, our spouses, I'm going to have to invest in a better than $14 tripod ring light from. Hang on, I got to do this, or TikTok's going to kick us off. All right. Lost my train of thought. But what I was going to say is they're part of the visible community as well, you know, and so their stories need to be shared. So, so that'd be good too. So, am I missing anything that we talked about that we were supposed to bring up that I failed to remember, that I did not write down in my little bitty notebook?
You know, I don't remember.
That's the beautiful thing about we're dealing with us. Our memories are crap. Oh, I guess I could say the following week after Tara, we're going to have a guy on Thursday, Invisible No More.
Yes.
And granted, 75% of the people that follow me are ladies. So the vast majority of people in the invisible community are what they call FAB, female at birth, right? Assigned female at birth. But there are guys, we are out there. And ladies, I would ask you to hear his story, because we all can pick up on things from different perspectives and learn a little bit to be more successful. And his story is a powerful one. He did something for a group of people that I don't think enough people know about, because I know he's not sharing it. And I'm hoping he'll let me get it out of him, that I was blown away that he did. This man's heart is huge, and he's a hero of mine. So anyway, so it's going to be good. It's going to be good. We got Tara on Thursday, and then he'll be here next week. And look at that. Just as we're getting off, I have a time-sensitive notification on my phone. Winter Storm Watch.
Oh, yay.
Yay. So do you have anything left for us, Miss Amy? You have been a trooper. I know where you're at, and the fact that you were able to stick with us all night long tonight, I appreciate you so much, because I know where you're at. You got anything? Parting wisdom?
It has been fun. I'm glad to be here as always. I appreciate you guys as a community and being there for me. The messages I've gotten just the past couple days have been so kind from everybody. So thank you so much. Thank you guys for being here tonight. And everybody get some rest, because it's probably cold where you guys are at. I feel like it's cold everywhere in the United States. And I feel like none of us do well in the cold. So take extra care of yourself, please, and rest, and just do what you can. Don't overpush yourselves, because I need that reminder as well. So I'm going to give it to you because I need it.
You go. My parting is thank you again for being there for me, like you've always been there for me. This invisible community does so much for me, and gives me so much that I didn't know I need. You guys recharge my batteries, and you spiritually and emotionally lift me up every single week. And like Amy just said, it's going to be cold everywhere, and most of us are going to suck because of the cold. So just do what you can. Give yourself grace, though, right? And that wasn't my one thing I was going to work on this year. Not a New Year's resolution, but a New Year's plan. Yep. Give yourselves grace. So you guys have a wonderful night. Thank you again for your time. Thank you for joining us. And if you need me, email me, keithcpp@gmail.com. If you want a message for Amy, just send her a message, because she's good returning. And same thing for Joe, CRPS Warrior. Message Joe, and we'll all get back to you ASAP. Y'all have a great night tonight. Love you guys. Please be safe. See ya. Bye. Peace.